Recording. All right. Heck yeah, you guys. There's like 15 of us on here. I was like, had no idea what to expect. I know like life is kind of crazy on Sunday nights. Got a few more people rolling in.
Yeah, super crazy. Just playing euchre.
That's like a game I feel like everybody knows how to play, and I do not know how to play that.
I do not know how to play it. My family gives me a hard time every year at Christmas, and I'm like,
Yes.
nope, it's
Yeah,
too hard. I can't figure it out.
I know. And then I feel like everyone wants to teach me, and then I feel like they get frustrated because there's just a lot to it. I don't know. It's not been my thing.
Same.
All right.
No, couldn't call. I'm afraid.
All right, crew. Well, if anyone else hops on, I will add them in as we go. But happy Sunday. I'm excited. Tomorrow is like officially day one of the challenge. We've been kind of prepping for this for the past week with weigh-ins and nutrition guides and kind of giving you guys a little bit of information just to set you up to be successful for the next 6 weeks. But basically, each Sunday, we're going to do a Zoom meeting like this. Moving forward from this one, they'll have like little themes to them. But for this first one, I just wanted it to be a Q&A kind of style session to help you guys if any questions came up as you were maybe going through your nutrition guides or meal prepping or anything that could come up, issues with the app, which I'm also still learning as we go. So we can just kind of take turns hopping in here. And honestly, if you probably have a question, somebody else most likely has that same question. I'll do my best to answer them. If there's something I need to look up and can like send some literature out to help the whole group, I will do that as well. Sound good? All right. So did everybody get a chance to look over their nutrition guide and kind of like read through it?
Yeah.
Cool. Does it make sense to everybody how to build the meals? I know it's a little confusing at first when you start out, but do you guys understand how to build your meals based around the points and how you can kind of split them up throughout the day?
Yeah, it was a little confusing because, like, for whatever your points are, so it had like, 3 meals and 2 snacks, and then your stupid simple one was like missing a snack versus what was on the thing. So,
Sure.
like, for me and Rachel, because we're trying to make this stuff all together at once, I'm like, what are you talking about, woman? It says this many, not that many. And then it was like, I'm like, wait a minute, these two papers are different. So you're not wrong, but all right, crap. So then we're like, we got to write a better reward board out first.
Yes. And you'll find like, I think the first like 2 weeks, Scott and I did it. I had like a pen and paper and I was like doing the math and writing everything down. But then after like those first 2 weeks, you just like, you know what you're making. You don't have to do as much like math and prep, and you can kind of like visually see how to build those meals out instead of having to like 3 + 2 is this and kind of getting rolling that way. So once you kind of get in the swing of it, it will come a little more natural. But what other question? Do we have any questions kind of moving into tomorrow?
I wasn't able to upload my pictures. Every time I go to upload, it just takes me to the calendar.
Okay, so I think did you try going to, so if you open the My Coach app and go to data,
Okay.
and under data, go to photos, and then under photos, hit the upload photo there.
Okay, I'll do that. I don't
try-
want to do it right now because I don't want it
Yep.
to disconnect the call. But yep, I wrote it down.
Yep, try doing it that way. And
Okay.
go into data, that's where all of like the metrics are as well. So you'll kind of have to scroll down on the metrics page to see like there's a body fat one and the weight is there as well.
Okay.
It's kind of tricky because they're not next to each other. So you have to kind of like look through them to log it. But under that data, metrics and photos are going to be where you're going to kind of want to do your uploads.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great question because someone else had asked me that earlier today too.
So add our own metrics that are all on that page, or just the weight for now. That's all we really have, right?
Yep, the weight and body fat are all I'm really looking for, and you can update those weekly in there. I think for some people, the app has synced to their Apple Watches if you have an Apple Watch, and it might upload like your activity and your heart rate. I think some people were noticing that it does that. But you'll have to manually input your weight and your body fat percentage. Cool.
Hey, Kristen.
Yes.
Hey, hi. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I am not the dieter or even following a nutrition plan ever before.
Yeah.
So when you talk about the shakes,
Yeah.
So it says like the one simple fast or whatever, it gives ingredients, but it doesn't talk about, do you add water? Do you add ice? What it doesn't say any of that. So
Yep. So I would say you could do add any type of liquid to that. If you add just water to it, then you don't have to like mess with the points. If you were to add like a juice, then I would take some of the fruit out because it would be more carbs if you add the juice in. Same if you were to add like a whole milk or an oat milk, you just have to kind of see how many macronutrients of the carbs were on there. So a water would probably be your best bet to add into that. If you're using like a frozen fruit, then you don't need to use ice. But if you're using fresh fruit, I would add a little bit of ice in to thicken the shake up.
all right.
Does that help?
Yep.
Cool. And then with those shakes too, they're pretty like big. Like I think they're like 4-point shakes. So you can always split those in half too. And if you wanted to do like a 2-point shake and save some other snacks for later, you could do it that way. Or if you wanted to be your meal and do the whole 4 points, you could do it that as well.
Yeah, I don't want to overcomplicate the protein shake, but it's like it says 1 scoop for the snack or whatever. What are we counting that as? Is just like, are we just counting that as a protein, and then is it 1 point, or like what is 1 scoop equal? I think it was written somewhere, but I couldn't find it again. So
Yep. 1 scoop of protein is 1 point.
all right, cool.
Yep. Keep it simple.
Is that a carb?
Now, when the nutrition, a nutrition plan like this, a
Mhm.
while back, I did the keto thing.
Yep.
And they talked about keto flu and feeling a little funky at the beginning. Same thing here.
You could, but you shouldn't really feel it too much because you are balancing those macronutrients. So the only way you would feel super different is if you're somebody who's eating a ton of sugar or like processed carbs frequently. And if you cut that out like cold turkey, then you will kind of feel a little weird because your body's used to kind of craving sugars or high processed carbs. But if you're not somebody who does that regularly, then you really shouldn't feel that like keto flu because you are getting your balanced carbs, fats, and protein. With keto, it's a little different because you're cutting out a lot of carbs and you're a little higher fat. So this, with it being a little more balanced, you shouldn't have that like total crash.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I got a lot. I'm just gonna keep going if you guys aren't
Listen,
gonna.
keep going.
We really do.
I'm so glad because this is how we like are setting ourselves up for success, right? Like I want you guys to commit to this and like feel good going into it. So it's something that you can like sustain and like really get into doing.
All right, here we go, guys. I'm just gonna go. Probably got a lot of these too.
We have
All
a
right.
lot too, don't worry.
So
Good.
our measurement, like, or does this have to be thawed or frozen?
Like fruit, that's what we're talking about.
Because I mean, we're
Oh, it doesn't matter.
okay. Because we're dealing with a whole household here, so you know,
Totally.
our space
We
is
do
limited.
frozen fruit. We do like frozen fruit is like such a great hack. Like one, it's cheaper, and 2, you can get so much of it. Like it's just, that is my biggest. I was gonna actually mention that, like getting frozen fruit is such a hack. Like highly recommend frozen fruit and veggies.
Yeah, because that's all we have. Like we have a whole freezer full of both. So then I was like,
So
crap,
just
are we
measure
supposed
them
to thaw
out
them?
however you have them. Yep.
All right, cool. And then what's the verdict on sugar-free sweeteners like stevia and such? Because like I'm a big cold brew drinker with coffee. I feel like drinks in general are a big question right now.
Yep.
So like, I mean,
Sweeteners are
if you
fine.
told me to waste something with sugar, I wouldn't know how, because I only use like stevia packets and stuff like that. So
Yep. Nope. That's totally fine. Make your coffee how you make your coffee. So when I do mine in the morning, like I put oat milk in my coffee, and I don't go crazy over that because I'm not going to stop drinking coffee the way I drink coffee in the morning. It's just like part of my morning routine. So again, for this to be sustainable, I just kind of try to be mindful when I am making my breakfast. I know I'm going to do my espresso. I'm going to do like a half cup of oat milk, and I do a little bit of honey. So my oat milk and honey are technically like high carb meal options, I guess you would say, or objects, whatever you want to say. So my protein is my eggs, and then I just kind of make my carbs, my oat milk and honey, but I do throw some like peppers and stuff into my breakfast as well. So like with your coffee or your drinks, like don't go too crazy, but I wouldn't say, just be mindful with like juices, because juices are a little bit higher sugar content, a little bit higher carb content with that. But I wouldn't get too spun up on like how you make your coffee or with a sugar-free sweetener. Again, we want this to be something that you guys can.
Has a lot of sugar, so I have to be careful.
Yeah, because we didn't see anything about sugar freeze. We're worried about that.
yeah, because I like mine's simple. I'm like sugar-free vanilla syrup and 3 stevia, and like I call it diet coffee because I don't put all the things. Like Rachel, on the other hand, looks like a milkshake in her hand. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm with you on that one, though.
Each to their own.
I'm with you on that one.
I love creamer.
Oh, it doesn't even look like coffee.
yeah.
Yes. So like with like use your best discretion here. Like try to just be mindful of what you are putting in there. Sugar-free is fine. If you were using like a ton of like thick whole syrups, I would say let's try to like break it down a little bit, maybe just cut the serving in half, and cut back a little bit, but I don't want to deprive you guys of anything for these 6 weeks.
If I use that almond milk, then
Can we go
and
over the portion where you substitute? That's where I'm kind of struggling because I know I don't eat eggs.
Yeah.
So breakfast is tough. I wake up starving to death.
Yeah.
So I always like had a bagel because I need substance, first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And I know you said something about Michelle does the English muffin with topping. So could you explain again how to calculate what I'll need for breakfast?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are like a breakfast person and you're wanting to eat something that is not a whole food. So something that's not a whole food is going to be something that has a nutrition label to it, right? Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
So if we are choosing to eat something with a nutrition label, we do have to do a little bit of math. So what we're going to do, and I'll send a little printout on this because I do have one, is you're going to look on the nutrition label and you're going to look at your proteins, your carbs, and your fat. And between the 3 of them, you're going to see which one has the highest number. So if my carbs is the highest number on there, say there's 21 grams of carbs in an English muffin, we're going to want to divide that by 9 because there's 9 grams of carbs per 1 point.
Okay. I remember you going over.
Yeah. And then whatever that number is how many points of carbs it will be. So we'll pretend it's 3 points of carbs for 1 English muffin. So that gives me my carbs. Now I'm going to want to try and find a protein and a fat to build up to that as well. And I can just add that in. So my English muffin is my 3 points of carbs. My fat is maybe some butter I put on it or some almond butter that I put on it. And then for you, it sounds like the challenge is going to be protein. So you could do like a little bit, you could even do a protein shake is a good option in the morning. Something I really like is the flavored collagen by Vital Proteins. And I will get like their chocolate collagen and just warm it up and kind of make like a hot chocolate in the morning. It's really good. So I really love doing that, but just a scoop of protein is a great way to kind of elevate that.
I didn't see that. And I remember you going through that on the board, but I didn't see it in any of the any of the handouts?
Yep.
Was that formula, the 9?
Yep.
Okay.
And I'll send that through too. I think, did you guys get the second packet that came through yet? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It was
Oh, I
like
don't-
a body guide or something. It was
Oh.
on another, in the app, you can download it, but I'll send that out as well. Just getting it.
Okay.
I think
Thank
it's
you.
that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it says.
Also, like,
so out of those
Kristen,
three
I
options,
noticed.
which has the higher one.
Oh,
Which
sorry.
has-
I noticed because
now
I'm
the phone
vegetarian, so I was
that
nervous
can
about all
read.
the math that I would have to do to figure this out. But there's actually vegetarian and vegan guides. So if
Yeah.
you're someone who doesn't eat eggs, you could always just look to see what they had as options for the breakfast for vegan and then like change it a little bit.
Good.
I just
Thank
thought that
you.
was cool.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Peggy. Yeah, Peggy. So on, I think it's like 2 days ago or yesterday, there's like that option where you find all the points to download and it's like 80 cents. They'll be different, like
Okay.
vegetarian and vegan.
Perfect. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah.
The BCAA, do you have like recommendations for that? We've
Yeah.
never used any of that before.
Yes. So I just had a meeting with the like distributors for the company called Thorn, and they have a lot of really great supplements, and they're putting together a link for us for our gym and this challenge specifically that will bundle BCAAs, fish oils, and protein in kind of like a pack that you can purchase, and it will get shipped right to you. So I have a follow-up meeting on Thursday at noon. So I'm hoping that by this week I'll have that link for you guys. And their supplements, the ingredients are clean, tested, and just like it's a really great company with good ingredients that we believe in. So those will be coming to you. And again, those are not like things you have to do, but just kind of like some supplements that you can add into.
Is there any like salad dressing that we should stay away from or go with?
Stay away.
I'm not a big dressing person as it is, but
yeah,
in the event we use it.
Yeah, I would say again, like don't go too crazy. As long as you're not dumping like half a cup of dressing on your salads, like I'm okay with it. I have been a huge fan of making my own dressings, and it's actually super easy. Like if you just use a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of balsamic, like one, you could just do those two ingredients together with a little salt and pepper, and it's really good on veggies. If you wanted to sweeten it up a little bit, I will do like olive oil, balsamic, and a little coconut sugar. So coconut sugar looks like brown sugar, but it's a lot lower on the glycemic index. So it's just a better option. And it kind of like helps sweeten up the dressings a little bit.
Oh, and then oatmeal, the measurement, the third cup, is that cooked or uncooked?
Cooked.
Cooked.
Yep. Yep. And same with like rice and grains. Anything that you're going to see on that list is going to be cooked.
Cooked. Okay.
That's a good question. Yep.
What about hummus? Can we have any type of hummus, or is there some we should stay away from?
Nope, hummus is good. I would always just look at the ingredients. The less ingredients, the better. But hummus is a great option.
Kristen,
And I make use of hummus for dressing too. Like I put that on my salad and it's pretty good.
On the oats, it said quarter cup, half cup milk, warm up, not a third cup. So is that dry, or can I do that and do it overnight oats?
Yes, that'd be like your overnight oats.
Cool.
Yep.
Oh yeah, so we can do it with the overnight.
Okay. What else do we got, crew?
Rachel shouldn't be drinking pop, right?
Nope.
Meaning Coke Zero, but
you would be okay. You can have some Coke Zero, but like maybe just like limit it a little bit. Not every day.
She's got a problem. I'm just telling you. I'm ratting her out right now. Is the Coke Zero problem?
It's like one a day.
It's only like 3 times a day. It's fine.
What about like protein bars? Are we allowed to have any of those or no?
You can do protein bars. Again, you have to kind of do a little bit of math with the nutrition label, and the less ingredients you can find on them, the better. We found that you could even like cut the protein bar in half. Oh yeah, you're doing like some funky effects over there.
I have no idea why. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
You can even cut the protein bar in half and go off of like the protein content, because usually it's like higher on the protein side. So like cut it in half and then add something to it. So Scott he has a protein bar that he does, but it's a really high in fat protein bar. So he will cut the bar in half and then eat a date with it to kind of up the carbs. And dates are a really good like sweet treat if you have a sweet tooth. Those have been like my go-to when I'm like craving something sweet. And they're a high in fiber. They're a good carb choice. I think one of them is like a block or two of carbs. I'd have to look on the list, but if you're looking to sweeten something up, like that's a really good choice if you're looking for
do like greens as a shake and put a date in there.
Yeah, Scott does his shakes, he'll put a date in it too.
Hey, Kristen, what's the rule of thumb with dry fruit? Because I know dry fruit has probably larger sugar contents than fresh fruit, right?
Yeah, I would again always look at the label, because dried fruit gets really tricky and a lot of dried fruit has added sugar. So if it has added sugar, I would say don't do it. If you find like the dried mangoes and stuff that don't have the added sugar, that's fine. Just I would try to limit it a little bit, but you could do the same type of measurements with it.
Why is it zooming in on me? Why is it doing that?
Any other questions?
There's these like energy drinks. They're like called like Rainstorm and like Aspire. They're like really low in calories.
Yeah.
I didn't know if those were like allowed.
They're allowed. I would just like, again, just err on the side of caution. And if you wanted to like look at the label and see what the like carb content is, because it's probably,
yeah,
I would say carbs, and try and incorporate that into like a snack. So you're pairing it with some type of protein and fat. The goal with everything that we do throughout this 6 weeks is really going to be to try and balance everything we're putting into our body. So we're getting like a protein, carb, and fat at every meal. That's going to be our goal. So if you are drinking like an energy drink that has some carbs in it, try to pair it with like a protein and make it one of your snacks.
Okay.
Yep.
What about the multivitamin?
Yeah, multivitamin is corn actually does a multivitamin as well. That's really
will that be on that recommendation list when you
Yep.
Oh, cool.
So when we get that website, you'll see there'll be like nutrition challenge bundles. And then there'll also be, if you wanted to find something else that wasn't bundled, they'll have a whole list of stuff on it too.
Like we do. We eat a lot of salad and stuff like that.
Is there any type of peanut butter that you recommend?
Again, I'm going to go back to the ingredients. Try to find peanut butter that is not like a dry roasted nut, because usually they're dry roasted in some type of oil that we want to try to stay away from. So any kind of like ingredients that says like just peanuts is what you want to really aim for.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes like the grocery stores, I know like Fresh Time and Heinen's will do like their own ground peanut butter, which is really good. It's a little chunky side, but if you don't mind a little crunch, then it's a great option. And peanut butter is like a tricky one. It's like really sad when you measure out your peanut butter. Really sad. I measure out my
Mostly fat.
Yeah, you get like a spoonful, right?
That's like my kryptonite is like nut butter. It's like I could take a jar of peanut butter and like go to town. Scott knows that's like my, oh, she's got the spoon. We're in trouble. Sorry, Adrian, what was that?
Oh, nothing. I said you only get like a spoonful. It's like,
Yes,
I know
it
what
was
you're
really
talking about.
sad. I was like, man, I was really overeating on the peanut butter and almond butter situation. So I don't even like do the nut butters anymore. I'm like, it feels better to put 6 cashews in my oatmeal than it does to like measure out this tiny piece.
I just had a question for us, like for as far as workouts missed, that for the points or whatever. I mean, it has to be a workout at Mentality because we hold a Y membership and all that jazz too. So we just have to make it up somewhere else.
Yep. And Kelly has this question too, because she doesn't have like a current membership at the gym, but she's been a member before. So if you aren't able to make it into class, just like post a picture of your workout wherever it is. You can post it on Facebook, on the app, anywhere you want. Just be like, hey, going for a run, and like take a little picture. And
You want some pictures of me doing yoga? That's what it is.
that's really what I was thinking.
So Kristen, I actually opened up the app to have my Apple Watch read my workouts. Is that okay?
Yep, that's perfect because I can see that on my end as well.
Okay.
That's great.
The BCAAs, is that only for days that we're working out, or is it every day?
Say like you really only need to use them on the days that you're working out. That's a good question, Tatum. Anything else?
I'm good.
Awesome. Cool, guys.
We're
Well,
ready.
did we do some meal prep today? We feel ready for the week?
Yeah.
Grocery
No,
shopping?
we're not ready. No way.
Trash.
We got food
Ever.
there's food everywhere right now.
Listen,
I
I'm
think once we
send you
get
guys
past the
a picture.
withdrawals, we'll be all right.
It's so funny. I'm going to send you a picture of the first 2 weeks that Scott and I did this in our house. It was like felt like we were about to run a marathon. And I'm like, we don't do that at all anymore now because it's like second nature. We like know what we're putting on our plate and like having for lunch and dinner. And like now we're like in the routine of doing it. But the first 2 weeks we did this, it was like 2 times a week. Our kitchen would just be like a disaster zone. And we were like, putting stuff in Tupperware containers and putting tape on the Tupperware container that said like, okay, 1 cup of this equals 1 block, just to try and like keep everything organized. And it feels a little chaotic and it feels like a lot these first 2 weeks, but I promise you, if you guys can stick to it for these first 2 weeks and just like put in the time and effort, it's going to get easier every week as you go. And then by the time the 6 weeks is up, you will not have to do as much work as you are doing right now because you'll know what it's supposed to look like. You'll be in the routine of like getting the food you need, cooking it, prepping what you feel you need to prep. Some stuff you won't have to prep and you can just kind of get it on the fly. So it will get easier. And
We can prep
it
for
just
you.
kind of takes a little bit of like habit building, right? That's kind of what it's all about, is building these healthy habits for these next 6 weeks that you can hold on to and keep them rolling. I told my group yesterday, I hate like the term 6 weeks challenge because I want this to be more than that, but it is 6 weeks that I'm going to be working with you guys. So I have to kind of coin it that, but like 6 weeks. And I want you guys to be like, all right, we can do this for another week. All right, we can do this for another week. All right, we can keep doing this. That's like my goal. That's my personal goal.
Or we could graduate to the intermediate level, you know, and be like, bam, just keep
We
going.
could like move you guys up a little bit, and that would be like some serious like recipe building. And I mean, we could really go down a rabbit hole with this.
For the meat, like to measure it, do you recommend like a kitchen scale, or do you just kind of
Yep,
I don't know why it's doing that. I really don't.
That's a great question. And this is totally up to you. So in that other guide that I sent you guys, there is like the 1 ounce is about a handful of meat. So you could do it that way. We use a kitchen scale just because it's super easy to just like put your bowl or plate on the scale, hit tar to level it out, and then just kind of like add the meat on. You can find some pretty cheap ones on Amazon. I'll throw a link into the group if you want to do it that way. But my only like kind of thing with the scale is I don't want anybody to get so obsessed with like everything having to be perfect all the time. So
Okay.
if you're someone who's like, I'm good, I can measure my 5 ounces of chicken and move on. Awesome. If you're someone who's going to get like super like spun up and, oh my gosh, I went over like half of an ounce on my chicken. I like can't eat it now. Like, no, pump the brakes, like start measuring with your hand again. I just don't want anybody to get like super obsessive over measuring things out and it not be like something that you could continue doing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, for future though, I like the ounces, or I like
Yep.
doing it by ounces. So like maybe just have it on there like a default for like future program, because
Yeah.
that's just the way I'm used to doing it. Previously in the past, trying to track macros and such, I just think it's easier that way because you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa. Sometimes it makes you sad, like you're like, oh man, that's
I
it.
know.
Ow. Yeah, I didn't want to leave that chunk, you know. It needed
I know. And it's like, I saw a reel. It was so funny the other day. Someone had their scale out and this guy was like putting a Cheeto on
Oh
it.
yeah,
And
there
like
you go.
zero out, so he would be like, oh, I can eat this. And then he would
Yep.
like zero out the scale and put another Cheeto on it.
Yeah.
I was dying. But with the scale, it is really easy to like build a bowl if you like are measuring it kind of the way Adrian's saying, like I'll put my bowl on the scale and then like measure out my rice and then clear it, then measure out my protein, clear it, measure out my fats, clear it. So you can do it that way. And Adrian, if you prefer to do it that way, I can send through the food list to you that has the measuring cups and grams or ounces. I think it's in grams actually.
It does. I'll convert it. It's fine. but
I use it 'cause it was in our level 1 guide has like the nutrition list in there. So if that's easier for you, I can send it to you because I use that too.
Yeah,
Yes,
because
please.
I'm not a like I gotta separate my food eater. Like everything becomes a blend. So
Me
I
too.
don't.
Everything's
I
a
literally do it just like you said. It all goes in there, and I go. I need some sauce. I'll take what's a quarter cup of soup is whatever its thing,
Yep.
and then that was my flavor for whatever meat and veggie or whatever. So it works out.
Yeah.
I thought it easier, but
Yep. Another positive to that is like less measuring cup dishes because I was like, where's all our measuring cups in this
Yeah.
house? They're all
for
gone.
sure.
But yeah, I'll send that through too.
All right, thanks.
All right. Good work, team. Way to show up tonight. I will upload this to our Facebook page or send out an email. So if you want to go back to it, feel free to go back and watch it. If you have any other questions, send them through to me that pop up. And as we go throughout the week, again, whatever comes up, let me know. I'll check in kind of midweek and see how we're making out. And let's do this.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Yes,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, we're excited. Have a good night, guys. Stay warm.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you too.
Thank
Good
you.
night.